Hey guys, so been thinking lately, and one thing we've been thinking about is the progression of my life, like the way my life is going, my personal journey, right? So one thing about taking a good look at our own life journey, as we're living in it, look at it as we're living through it, not from our deathbeds, right? Wishing we did this or did that differently, whatever. But instead, like I said, looking around us as we live through our journey and as we're going along, jumping into what is often referred to as the fool's journey, okay? And it's called this, mostly, you guys, because it's unknown. It's unknown. And mostly because the people who still fear the unknown call it foolish, risk-taking, and blah, 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 right? But during these times, I think that's when we have to remember to keep an awareness around what it actually means to be foolish. Anything great that's ever happened in the course of human history, the first one to break the mold was always thought to be a fool, okay? I don't know. The way I see it is knowing different views and being brave enough to step into your own unknowns is always going to be a great thing. Even if it doesn't feel that way at first, it will be. It's going to be a huge catalyst for change in your own life. I'm just saying. So yeah, anyway, as we journey, we find people will suddenly become challenged around us, especially as we're taking these fool's journeys, right? And a big part of this is as we start to grow and heal our own selves, we often unintentionally force others to look at their own way of living, and that causes them to rethink. And they start to question if they are living the only way for themselves, or if the way that they are choosing to live is even the best for them. They call it fucking awakening for a reason. And sometimes when this happens, it's going to cause those people to react. And often in angry or accusatory ways, because it's always easier for humans to react than it is to take responsibility. And I'm sure we'll circle back to that at some point. But for now, look, it takes time for us to break out of that conditioned way of being. And part of this, you guys, is knowing that we don't have to engage with those reactions when they happen. We don't have to react to the reactions around us. We don't. And for me, I know when this occurs around me that it's just going to fucking happen from time to time. and it doesn't change who I am or how far I've come in my own journey, right? It just doesn't. Because I don't let it. And I don't because I know that life is what it is. And I know that there will be times that situations or other people cause life to feel like it's fucking rising and falling. And I also know that that's just all part of the roller coaster ride of this human life that we're all fucking on. Ups and downs and highs and lows and laughter and tears. It's all life, my friends. And for me, none of it stops my merry little way of being. And if it should for a time, right, it doesn't last very long anymore. You see how I used merry there? I'm so fucking festive. Anyway, I say, sometimes as we find ourselves in life going through and making choices that are meaningful to us, and we see that others start to question our sanity because of such choices, right? Well, I say usually we're on the right track. when that happens. And it's leading us with all the winding and loop-de-loops and to a more awakened, more enlightened awareness in our world. It's us being who we are. And so I guess what is really happening is, although at first, yes, we may doubt ourselves because of others doubting our choices, but when we keep staying true to what we feel, when we honor what we intuitively know, we are becoming more sane in what we can only call a very insane world. We come to know in our own time that within us, beyond all that rises and falls, only truth remains. And that, my friends, is fucking important. Knowing our own truth allows us to take the leaps we know are for us and walk away from those that are not. While I believe that everyone should take leaps of faith in their lives, I also believe that true awareness is knowing not every cliff is meant for you to jump off of. We have to trust our inner knowing more than we trust what everyone else does or says or sees. It's when we follow along blindly with that old crowd mentality that we sacrifice our true selves. Which leads me to what I want to talk about today, and how the collective consciousness of what life is actually pushing us to present our own lives in a way that is a complete fucking lie. It's a collective lie, if you will. I'm talking about this little ideal that many humans strive for. I'm talking about the so-called American dream. And the thing, you guys, the thing about the American dream, especially in today's world, is it's all about the look. It's all about the image first. And well, my friends, I think when we focus on living our lives that way, based around what is seen by others, when we bank on that being a core principle of how we navigate this world, then we actually are living messier than we think we are. I mean, yeah, sure, it appears to be all buttoned up and pretty, but, well, is it really? So let's discuss, shall we? So, first, let me say that I do believe in the idea of what the American dream is supposed to stand for. I do. I do, however, believe that it is not just American, but more simply, a dream for all humans. However, I, just like you, cannot change the history or the past as it is, and am just living along, trying to get myself and my loved ones to where we are living a thriving life of just peace. Simple, yeah? And I like to explore ways of how to get there. But also, I like to look at what on this earth may be hindering that process. I guess so that I can better choose my own path instead of what I'm quote-unquote supposed to do. And you know what? That's what we're going to look at here today, okay? And before I proceed, I always say it's best to CYA. And if you're not familiar with that acronym, it's cover your ass, okay? So, please know, for me, it is not a matter of politics or religion or race or country or anything else fucking like that, okay? But I am an American. So I have to discuss life and situations from the viewpoint that is mine. Yeah? Does that make sense? Hopefully, my listeners, my friends, you are all open to discussion and not just box into a believing, right? Okay, so here we go. All right. The founders of America came here for reasons that, unfortunately, as a country, clearly, since that time, we have gotten some of the wires crossed along the way. And fucking don't get me wrong, I love where I live. But facts is facts too, you guys. Not everything is rosy all the fucking time. It's not rosy anywhere on this planet, and that truth remains here as well, okay? See, originally, these founders were men who came to this land and declared their independence from England because of their belief in unalienable rights. Those men believed people inherently possessed the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All good things. All good things, of course, right? However, it would be unwise to not say that while they deemed these dreams worthy of themselves, they also neglected these same dreams and quote-unquote unalienable rights, as they say, of the peoples who already lived this land. Therefore, from this fact alone, I think we have to take responsibility and acknowledge that the good old American dream has always been a lie. The premise of it has, anyway, because the truth is that they believed the dream was only suited for those who fit their mold. And that is a fucking problem. Well, it is in my book anyway. And I think if we look at how life is played out based off the premise of the American dream, well, sorry, my friends, but if we're being real, which we always fucking are here, then it's clear to see that this dream has always been an illusion, a fallacy. And so many people are pretending to live it. So many today worship living that lie. And it's fucking true. And I'll give you some examples, of course I will. But first, let me backtrack a little into my own personal healing experiences, okay? So, when I started this journey, which is going on over 3 years now, oh my God, that was a fucking mess. A fucking mess. Of course, I hid it well, and I didn't think I was at that time. But looking back, now I know that I was just a shell. I was a shell. A shell of a human, existing and living a life that now I know truthfully was me trying to fill some shoes that, like it seemed the founding fathers deemed we should. And I guess as we grow, we all try to get those particular shoes that we've been taught to strive for to fit our own lives. Except I began to see that because those shoes were based on lies, we never really can fit them. And so we continue to lie and we continue to struggle. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, so yeah, there I was living and working and draining my soul of all that it was to fit into some fucking metaphorical shoes that don't actually exist. And it broke me. It finally broke me enough that I cracked, and suddenly that's when the light started coming in. Through those broken pieces, I found the faith that pushed me into who I am now. I found that aha moments began happening, and I let those heartfelt feelings guide me along. And it wasn't an easy thing, you guys. Many days there was sadness, confusion, pain, anger, and that pain, it sucked. No fucking lie, it fucking sucked more than words can express. But once I embraced that and felt it, like for real fucking felt it, and began to listen to myself as to why it felt the way it did, I don't know, basically I let it fucking suck. I had to let it suck so that I was able to come out the other side with a better feeling around who I am and what life I want to live. And it's a powerful feeling when we step into more of what serves us, and we let go of that fear of not being worthy of what society deems should serve us, okay? I'm saying for me, healing made me realize that my own personal dreams begin to outweigh the appeal of that old collective American one. And suddenly, those dreams of mine just felt much more reachable and so much more true. I don't know how else to say it. And I think, you guys, in part it's because when we really honor the dreams from our own hearts, that dream is truth. And that is how we begin to build a new humanity. I don't know. It may sound crazy now because of how we see the world currently. I get that. But, I don't know, imagine humans living true to their hearts and living life with respect, understanding, and just having a more healed version of consciousness and community. I just believe that heart-based living always guides us into more of those win-win type situations that over time we see not only benefit our individual selves, but also end up benefiting the human collective as well. And we'll get into the rest in a minute, but remember this. Please remember as we go through this episode. What matters in life is being able to hear your own voice. That inner truth that is only yours. As we grow, others will often not understand our voice, even if the words we share are good and true. So they won't always agree or connect with us or the words we speak. But when we always hear what our own heart is saying in our own voices, okay, then just trust. Just trust that we are always connected to our own truths. Yeah? And so, the more we look at the collective consciousness around the so-called American dream, we can see that it doesn't really exist in the whole that we have come to view it as. All right, for example, I used to watch a lot of true crime shows and shit like that. I'm telling you, this is going to make a point, I promise. It's funny, though. It's funny how dark our media can be and how desensitized we get to it without even realizing it. And, as I healed, I started naturally just pulling away from those types of stories because it fed me that same dark energy, and it took me some time to see that everything we do to ourselves affects our lives in some way. The energy of those shows, it was leaving like a darkness on me that I really didn't need, right? I guess in everything, remember, what we focus on comes into focus, right? So watching this stuff made me feel a darkness around humanity, and I didn't want to feel that. So I stopped feeding my energy with that. Does that make sense? It's just like if you're fucking eating something and it causes a reaction that doesn't feel good, you don't eat that shit anymore. Huh? It's the same fucking concept, okay? So it was interesting to me recently that I was pulled to watch, some of these crime type shows again. From a much more healed sense, of course, but still. And, now I know the reason was this fucking episode, but anyway. So like the running theme in all these crime shows is that many are living the quote-unquote ideal life, right? Living what others view as that American dream. But behind closed doors, away from the prying eyes of other humans, it was always instead an American nightmare, right? Like friends and family they interview for these shows, they never saw it coming, right? They had the quote-unquote perfect life. The house, the kids, the cars, all that, right? So, while yes, it often appears these people with money and homes with picket fences and kids and dogs are living that fucking American dream, they actually aren't. And often, we don't know it until it's too late. Because what I see is the dream is a lie and the drama is real. And the whole of the country was not built on this freedom as we have come to worship here, but instead it was based on drama. And the truth is, that's what Americans seem to worship more than freedom today, isn't it? Drama. It's funny how even when people live their lives based on lies, right? That the truth is always there. And it is easily seen if we're actually fucking looking for it. So yeah, I think the American dream is actually a real nightmare. Because we never had the best interests in what it should have stood for. Because those who founded it were human. And their own views were tainted. And it's not a blame, right? But it's a piece of life that we should all accept and awaken to. When humans are the rule makers, the rules will always fit what those particular humans think. It's just natural. So it becomes important to review and revisit, to renew such things that no longer ring true. Can't build lives of truth by living in a system based off lies. And again, this isn't meant to disparage this country in any way. I love the freedoms we have, but I also know that that word is to be used loosely. Again, the freedoms we have are built upon rules by other humans. So how free is that really? I'm just saying. So yeah, we often see these people being successful with cars and homes and money, etc. But when it comes out, that they're really not as picture perfect as they appear. And again, I think it's that status we have gotten in our heads of what the American dream looks like. So I'm saying, is it because the original American dream was already based off a lie that we continue to struggle to live our own versions of that dream? Because in order to live that way, we also have to be living a lie? From fronting wealth via credit card debt and loans out the ass, to feigning love when it's really just lust, to hiding hurt and pain to project and protect an illusion that everyone must see for us in order to show, falsely, of course, that we're living a successful human life. And we feel trapped in a so-called dream that doesn't exist. The drama is real, but the dream is an illusion because we have succumbed to living the life influenced by the ways of the founding fathers. And see, once you understand energies, then you can see why when a society was created by heavy-handed masculine energy and the feminine energy was displaced, we get a lot of action and no emotion. It just makes one wonder what a collaboration of founding fathers and mothers would have done for this nation instead. But again, it's a past we cannot alter. But we always have the option to view it through new lenses, don't we? And really, just remember, those are energies I speak of, not genders as we view them physically. But truth is, those men had both energies within, but they chose to fixate on the masculine more than the feminine. They left out all the emotion of humanity. And that's why our so-called American dream is one that lacks true feeling, and instead, in many ways, is focusing only on true greed. The pursuit of happiness was never meant to be viewed as some trophy to be won, but should have been more important as an open lifestyle for all humanity. Not only those who the founders deemed worthy of happiness that they believed in. I mean, even if we look at it, okay, didn't this country become a country? Wasn't this country founded because of spite? Aren't the founding fathers full of spite? Yes, I say yes, it did, and they were. And look, we can be all noble and say that it was founded for freedom, but isn't most freedom sought to spite what we feel is unjust in the first place? Of course it fucking is. Of course it fucking is. Our motto could just as easily be, I can do all things through spite, which will strengthen me. It can be. And it's not nearly as noble sounding, but it is no less true. Okay? Spite is why they left England. Spite is why they took what they took with no remorse. It's why all humans do that, honestly. And isn't it high time we stopped being those kind of fucking human beings? Isn't it time we stopped taking those types of human beings to the top? Handing them the so-called American dream when clearly they're the ones wasting it? I mean, is it time to spite those that spite us? Maybe. But maybe not. Because, in my humble opinion, of course, that's why we should live our own dreams in life once we awaken. We need to see the truth, which is that the greatest spite of all is knowing that we don't need to spite ourselves to try to live out an illusionary dream of greed that only causes struggles. And instead, we can choose to focus our lives and energies around those realities that feed our souls and our own inner truths, whether they mimic the collective dreams or not. I've come to know that truth is always speaking to us. It's just not always heard in words. We just gotta get good at listening to those truths behind the words, because sometimes the words are fucking superficial, and that just means that we have to learn how to listen deeper. We should not try to live up to the dreams created for us by history or anyone else in our lives. Isn't that, what's that fucking saying? Isn't that cutting off our own nose just to spite our face? Isn't it? So, I don't know. I say awakening to this is key, because we all have the power inside to take our own dreams, our own manifestations, and make them our realities. We just have to get ourselves to where we clearly see the line between which has been forced down through generations in good ways of human growth, and that which has been driven into us and is actually stunting our human growth. If we're going to grow through these journeys, you guys, we have to acknowledge that, while, yes, during their times, humans of the past, sometimes they deserve the benefit of the doubt. That maybe they were doing what they thought was right. We weren't there. We don't fucking know, so how can we judge, right? Maybe, though, just maybe, as we continue to advance as people, ourselves, we need to look at the now and determine if those things that once worked, or seem to at least, still will. And of course, all that is depending on who and what is to be believed. And again, always your choice. But I think reviewing things like what the dreams and the drama all mean to us individually, by reviewing those things, right, then we can all see more clearly and learn to move forward with less time spent looking back, wondering if we're making the right choices for us. It's time we remove the drama from the American dream. It's time that dream becomes reality as we see it. As we see it will best serve all of humanity, be they American or otherwise. I think all humans deserve the right to pursue happiness and growth as best they can, and that it all starts when we step out of the illusion of what dreams may come and focus on living the life of right fucking now, and creating happiness on our own in each one of our very own nows. And not just fucking dreaming of it all coming together in some distant fucking tomorrow. I don't know. After all, isn't a dream just a reality we live in our minds? So let's open those minds more and more, and let the dreams coming out from our heart speak those truths and live out loud in our worlds. I think often we go through life like lone wolves, right? Like, even though we may be connected to others, we feel we navigate much of the journey alone. And we do. And that helps us become stronger as we travel our individual paths. But as much as the collective needs some changing, it also isn't going anywhere. We need each other to see that we are not separate. Humans need other humans. I read this once, and it's a good ending to leave you thinking this week. There is only so much a single drop of water can do alone. As precious as that one drop is, I mean, just ask some dude dying in the desert, okay? As precious as one drop of water is, at some point, the one drop has to be added to other drops to become like a giant wave, right? A giant wave that when they combine, they're able to flow together and make a considerable impact upon this world. That's how awakening humanity is. Individually, we're all drops who awaken on our own, but then as we come together, we create a powerful force that just can't be denied, just like the fucking ocean, right? We're all part of the wave of humanity, and it's up to us to use that powerful energy to make our world better. It just fucking is. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it at that this week. I say, don't dream a little dream. Live a big life instead. However that looks and feels best for you, my friends. And that's all for now. I will talk to you all later. Bye.